Gao Tu wished more than anything that he could say the words that were burning in his heart. Wenlang, I'm pregnant. He imagined the way Wenlang would look at him, the surprise and the warmth in his eyes, the soft voice that would murmur, "It's okay, we'll face this together." But he couldn't. Not now. Not with everything that had happened. Not with the fragile life growing inside him and the secret he had kept for so long. The thought pressed down on his chest like a heavy weight, and he felt tears sting his eyes as he imagined the life he could have shared with Wenlang. If only things had been different. If only Wenlang could be here now. To the outside world, Gao Tu always appeared calm, composed, and reliable. People saw a perfect beta, someone steady, strong, dependable. No one ever guessed the truth. No one knew that beneath that controlled exterior, Gao Tu was an omega. For years, he had hidden it, relying on suppressants to keep his scent and his true self concealed. They had been his shield, his armor, his way to survive in a world that would never accept him if the truth came out. But they had also drained him. The suppressants left his body weaker, more fragile, and sometimes dizzy or sick. And yet, he had always endured, because all of it was for Wenlang. For 10 years, he had loved him silently, watching him, protecting him, sacrificing everything without a word, without a complaint. Every risk he took, every moment of suffering he endured, it was all for Wenlang. But now everything was different. Now Gao Tu was carrying Wenlang's child, alone, afraid, in pain. When the doctor had explained the dangers, Gao Tu had felt his stomach twist with fear. Your body is weak. Pregnancy under these conditions is extremely dangerous. You could die, the doctor said gently. You should consider terminating it for your own safety. Gao Tu had closed his eyes, shaking his head. No, he couldn't. He would never give up this child. The life inside him was hope, love, and a piece of Wenlang that he could carry forever. The idea of ending it felt like betrayal, like turning his back on love itself. He had survived so much, endured so much in silence. He would not give up now. Every day was a challenge. Every movement required careful thought. Walking across the room left him breathless. Sitting or standing demanded calculation. Even lying down was exhausting, as his body ached in ways he had never imagined. And yet, through every pang of pain, through every wave of nausea, he endured. He whispered constantly to the child, speaking softly, hoarsely, filled with love. Stay strong. Hold on. I will protect you, no matter what. Every kick, every flutter, every tiny shift reminded him why he had to survive. The life inside him depended entirely on him. He had promised, silently, to guard it with every ounce of his strength. The apartment he had fled to was quiet, but it felt more like a cage than a sanctuary. Every sound, the creak of the floorboards, the faint hum of the city outside, the soft rush of wind brushing against the window, felt louder than normal, sharper, reminding him of how alone he truly was. He had no one to help him, no one to comfort him, and no one to share his fears. The loneliness pressed down on him, heavy and suffocating. And yet, even in isolation, he found moments of hope in the tiny life growing inside him. He thought of Wenlang constantly. Every smile, every soft voice, every small act of kindness that Wenlang had shown him over the years replayed in Gao Tu's mind, bittersweet and painful. He loved Wenlang so fiercely, but he had to remain hidden. If Wenlang knew the truth now, if he saw him like this, it could be dangerous for both of them. And so he carried everything alone, his pregnancy, his fears, his longing, his love. And sometimes, the longing felt unbearable. He imagined Wenlang beside him, holding his hand, whispering that everything would be okay, comforting him, loving him. If only Wenlang were here, maybe the fear would shrink, the pain would soften, and the loneliness would ease. The suppressants that had protected him for so long now felt like a burden. They had kept him hidden, kept him safe, allowed him to live in a world that might never understand him. But now they weakened him, drained his energy, and left him more vulnerable than ever. Every dose was a reminder of how delicate his life had become. And yet, he continued to take them, carefully managing his body, calculating every movement, every step, every breath. He endured because the child depended on him, because the love he carried demanded it. Because hope required courage, pain was constant. It came in waves, sometimes sharp and sudden, leaving him gasping and trembling, sometimes dull and heavy, pressing down relentlessly. But he endured it all. Every ache, every contraction, every pang of nausea, every dizzying moment reminded him why he could not falter. He had chosen this path, and he would walk it to the end. He had chosen love. He had chosen life. At night, he would curl up on the bed or the floor, exhausted, trembling, tears slipping down his cheeks. He pressed his hands over his swollen belly, whispering softly to the child, "I know it's hard. I know it hurts, but I'm here. I will protect you. I will never leave you. You are my reason to keep fighting." And in those quiet moments, he allowed himself to imagine a future where Wenlang knew. A future where they could face this together. A future where love was not forbidden or hidden, where fear did not dominate, and where he could finally feel safe. Even the smallest daily tasks were monumental. Eating required careful thought and planning. Drinking water needed calculation. Walking even a few steps left him exhausted. Every action carried the weight of responsibility. Every movement had to be measured, precise. The child's life depended on him, and he could not fail. And yet, through all the pain, through all the exhaustion, he found strength. Each flutter, each heartbeat, each tiny movement reminded him that love could give courage even in the darkest moments. He thought of Wenlang constantly, imagining his expressions, the warmth of his touch, the gentleness of his words. He remembered the little moments they had shared in the past, the way Wenlang would smile when he was quiet, the soft encouragements when Gao Tu was struggling, the subtle acts of care that others never noticed. He longed for Wenlang's presence more than anything. He wanted to reach out, to tell him everything, to let him cradle him, to let him share this burden. And yet, he had to wait, because the truth was dangerous, because secrets could destroy everything. And so he suffered in silence, dreaming of a life where Wenlang could be here, where they could face this together, where the world would not tear them apart. He whispered to the child constantly, stories, dreams, and hopes for the future. "You are my heart, my hope, my reason to live. One day you will meet him. One day we will be together. One day love will be allowed, and we will live without fear." Even in exhaustion, even in pain, he drew strength from the tiny life inside him. That small heartbeat, that fragile flutter of life, was proof that even in the darkest moments, love could give courage and hope.